Hey guys, welcome back to Conejo Valley Visionaries. So today's episode feels really personal. As a single divorced mom living out here in the Conejo Valley, I kind of feel like sometimes I'm the only one of my kind. And my conversation with Tammi Pickle, the owner of Elite Connections, a matchmaking business that she owns with her mom for over 2 decades, I speak with Tammi and she assures me I am not the only one. Yes, it is a smaller pool here in the Conejo Valley, but there are more of us looking for love. And we talk about her business, how her mom actually met her husband 30 years ago via a matchmaking service. And that's how the business had its early roots, and how she's helped countless people over the past 20 plus years making love connections out in the Conejo Valley, but as I mentioned, in LA and around the country. It is a fun conversation. She gives us hot takes on dating, the impact of online dating, and where she would recommend you go on a first date out here in the Conejo Valley. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Tammi Pickle. Please let me know what you think in a DM or comment on our posts on Conejo Valley Visionaries. With that, please enjoy this conversation with Tammi of Elite Connections. If you enjoy this episode and find value in the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and rating. This helps more people find the podcast, and therefore each story can reach more folks in the Conejo Valley. Hey, Tammi, welcome to Conejo Valley Visionaries. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Christina. Excited to be here with you.
I am thrilled. I was connected to you through a friend, Lana, a good elementary school friend, and I'm a single lady here out in the Conejo Valley, so I am very curious to
Hey, girl, same.
not only talk to you about Elite Connections and what you have built over the past couple of decades, but also about just the dating scene out here and how we're supposed to navigate through this. I asked the community on Conejo Valley Visionaries to share any dating questions they might have. 0 people responded, and I was like, wait a second, am I the only single person in the Conejo Valley? So first question for you, Tammi, is, am I the only single person, or is there are there people who are successful and interesting and single that we can tap into?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of single people around here. I am also single,
Okay.
and I know how hard it is because we're kind of bedroom community, and the apps are kind of a joke. And if you use them, they just people aren't that serious. I think there's a lot of people just dating tons of people, but there are successful people in this area, people that want to meet the right person. But it is smaller. It's hard. Like, we have families and kids, and to go out to LA or Santa Barbara, it's like, no, who has time for that? So it is a smaller market, people our age are still married, or, it's just hard to find
Yes.
nice, successful guys that are serious about finding the right person and a good state of mind and all of that kind of thing.
Okay, but you'll help us, and obviously through Elite Connections, you're doing that. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, I want to know, I know that you grew up out here in Thousand Oaks. As a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh gosh, good question. I wanted to be a vet. I loved animals, but then I realized what you had to do with the animals, and put them down, and they're sick, and dealing with all that. So then my path, I've had a few paths.
Oh, that's what we love to dig into. Was it through what you studied, or what were your, what are the different paths that you took?
So I went to Moore Park College, and I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. And I had some friends going and doing hair. So I went to, cosmetology school, and I did hair for a little while. I was like, this isn't what I want to do forever. Then I went back to school, got my degree in psychology. And I was like, I really want to work with kids. I want to work with people. I want to help people somehow. Wasn't quite sure. But my mom had a matchmaking agency for the last 31 years. So I kind of started working with her, and it was nothing that I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to work in the family business. I'm going to be a matchmaker. But I fell in love with helping people meet someone, and getting to know each and every client, and kind of working with them and helping them, through past relationships and moving on to future relationships, and giving them advice and dating advice and things like that. And I just kind of fell in love with being able to help people that way. So I have been doing it since I was 20. off and on. And I'm 44, so long time.
Yeah.
And it was funny how the business has changed. Like we started when Lana worked with the friend that we have in common. She worked with me way back then, and we used to send profiles through the mail and like have to wait for responses. Did you get the profile I sent through the mail a week ago? Oh, I didn't get it yet. Oh yeah, I got it. She looks great. So it's like setting up matches was crazy.
And that's crazy though, because it wasn't that long ago. Like, 20-ish years, but still to think of like how much has changed in terms of dating since then because of technology is crazy.
I remember like there were penny saver ads. Like if you wanted to date back then, I never did this. I was like in college and running around to all the Cisco's and Yucatans and all that. But like my mom, she was like, I would never put my ad in a penny saver to find someone. That's creepy. And then she's like, nobody would ever meet somebody online. But now, of course, everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
But my mom started this company because she was in real estate, but then she was single. She had me and my brother, and she joined a matchmaker. She brought home some videotapes. We sat down together, and I helped pick out her husband. She's still with him, and she's like, what a cool way of meeting people. Like I probably would have been single forever if it wasn't for this matchmaker, because I would have never done the penny saver, or maybe like Plenty of Fish was coming up or that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And she's like, I would never have done that. So without her, I would be single forever. So she started working with the woman and then broke off and started her own company because that woman was in LA and we were here. And so
Yeah.
she just kind of started in this area, but we're also in LA and lots of different areas. But yeah, so it worked for her. And so we've been doing it ever since.
That is an incredible story. I love it. Like the first match was her own.
Yeah, I know, it's great. I mean, we
Great.
sat down with like popcorn, the whole thing, like these horribly edited videos. And he seemed nice and had two kids and lived local and played tennis and skied and had a good job. And I was like, that's him. And she always tells everyone this, but she went out with him and she was like, I don't know. He's like kind of like a funny haircut and he didn't dress very good. And everybody's like, he's a nice guy and he has a job and he seems like a genuine person. Like, go out with him again. You can cut his hair, you can get him new clothes, like just try again. And she did, and he like just grew on her, even without the haircut and the hair. But a first date, we're so like picky. Oh, I want all these things and the laundry list of things you want. And sometimes you got to throw it out the window. And if it's like a nice, genuine person that like you get along with, it's hard to find. So
Well, I imagine you're still giving that same advice to your clients today, right? I mean, I think we all are, and especially with the advent of dating apps and this like accessibility, it's like the first date, it really feels like you can easily like you pass over somebody who might not have the exact outfit that you want them to be wearing. So, is that
right.
part of it is just maybe don't take everything so seriously?
Yeah. And like sometimes sparks don't fly in the initial like attraction and like all of it fades, right? You want like somebody you get along with that's a good person that you have good chemistry with, of course, but that can kind of grow. Like I feel like friendship is really important, like a good, strong bond versus like the chemical like reaction of like butterflies. And sometimes that's not always like the best relationship. It's more of like, excitement and like fear, and there couldn't be like it's there because there's an attraction, but that's not what it's all about, because that phase and you want them to be a good person and stick around and treat you good and be in it for the long haul. I mean, I know, like I'm sure we've all done it, gone after like the hot guy that's like not for you, right? Like you want the
Guilty.
yeah, you want like the all over package, but it are like the sparks and like crazy hot that important? No, like it's more than that. It's like long term relationships are way more than just, oh, I'm so attracted to him. It's all the other stuff too.
Yeah. So I want to take it back just a step. You mentioned that when your mom started the business, she was out here in Thousand Oaks, but they were focused maybe on Los Angeles or the original agency. So she broke off to like really be here in the Conejo Valley. As somebody who's only lived here about 4 years and only part of that single, I do see this sort of divide or this like challenge between living out here and maybe trying to date in LA. And like, it's just that distance is still pretty far and different. So, like, do you see that now? Are people who are out here really just trying to date locally? Is Ventura, I feel like I go as far as Ventura, but LA just feels too out of bounds.
Yeah, I think people with children are like, I wouldn't move my kids to LA, and if they have kids, would they move their kids to Thousand Oaks? So it's tricky. I think people that are single or less tied down or can work from home or remotely, they they can date a little bit further easier than like people that are tied down with local jobs and children and those types of things. So I think for the most part in our situation, local is going to be way easier. Like, maybe like the valley, even though like that's even hard to get to when there's traffic.
Right.
And then like out to Ventura possibly, but like I feel like closer is obviously easier. It's hard enough to get out and meet someone when you're running your kids around and doing your life thing. That it's just like timing. Do I have half a day to travel to LA and back to meet, go to dinner? Not really.
Right. No, totally. Yes. And when you have kids and it's a babysitter, the expense on top of that, I mean, it's just like, is it worth it for all of that? So, well, tell us, how does the matchmaking process work? Are you
Yeah,
still creating videos and sending them around? Like, how does this happen?
so most of our clients are contacting us directly. They're looking for a matchmaker locally, and then they contact us. But we have a database where us as matchmakers just kind of pick and choose who we feel would be a good fit. So, like, it's not an app, it's not where you can sift through and see all the clients, but we do interview, meet everyone personally, background search, kind of vet, make sure they are who they say they are, they're not lying about who they are. We do check ID and make sure they look like their photos, so they like are legitimate, like not living in grandma's basement. They do what they say they do for a living. They're not married. All of these important things that we all want in someone, and not bashing on the apps, because I know a lot of people that I've met that way. But you can be anyone you want to be. I mean, they sometimes kind of check your photo. So that probably is like, okay, they probably look like their photos. But other than that, they can say they're a doctor. They can say that they're anything, and they could be, unemployed in Aunt Bonnie's basement.
Right.
So you just never know. So we just kind of vet people that come to us are a bit more serious. They are investing, in a matchmaker, but they appreciate that we are meeting and screening and vetting and interviewing, and then we kind of go through after getting to know our clients, and then we kind of go through and find what they're looking for. Let's say they're looking for a specific religion or area, or I want to date somebody with kids because they get it, so we kind of go through, pick the best matches, and then send them over. She says yes, he says yes, we set up the match. We get feedback on the match, which is kind of nice. Like if they said something wrong, if they talked too much about the ex, if they were like talking about their drama with their kids or blah blah blah, right? Like sometimes we can kind of be fly on the wall, and we can let them know, yeah, he really liked you, or she really liked you, you should pursue it, or no, they weren't really feeling it, let's work on something new for you. So like sometimes you get ghosted on the app and you're like, what happened, what I do, what happened, so we can kind of like relay if something
I
major
feel like,
would happen.
yeah, I feel like the feedback part of it is kind of, I don't know if it's like as I get older that I like want more feedback on things, but
Right.
like that's sort of nice to know, like
Yeah.
how you came off, or, maybe something you didn't realize you were doing that they picked up on.
Right. It's like a friend. Like if a friend would set you up with someone, and then she's hearing both sides, and then she's like, this is what happened, and oh, he's just not ready. He decided he's like, this was too much. He's not ready to date, whatever. Like at least you're getting like a little feedback from a third party, me. I do feel like I'm friends with my clients. I get to know them, and I'm working with them closely. And so it's like, yeah, you got a friend in your corner to kind of hook you up with people that you wouldn't normally come across.
Yeah.
And they do tend to be a bit more serious. They're successful, they're professionals, they're, busy with their kids and their, work and that kind of thing. So they come to us because they, kind of trust our expertise, and that, we have a very good database, like 31 years in business. Not many companies can say that. We have a really large team that works with us. We can search for anyone anywhere. Like, we're always like recruiting and trying to find new people. So there's different ways of joining with us too, which is nice. They can come in on a full membership where we're actively searching and recruiting, or they can come in, kind of be put in the system. And if we're matching someone and they might be nice for that person, so they can kind of come in at like no charge, but we're not really working for them. They're just kind of put in the system. And then if we have somebody in mind for them, we'll let them know. So there's different ways of working with us also.
Okay. And do you find, so I have so many questions.
Yes.
So when it comes to, because you mentioned the investment, and there is something about, I'm speaking just personally, but I think this is like other friends who have done this, where you feel like if you have to invest in it, it almost feels kind of like, I don't know, there's like a step that makes it feel a little uncomfortable for me. I don't know why. There's like some sort of like mental thing that comes across it. So one, I guess, how would you, I don't know if you ever get that kind of pushback from people that like the investment, I don't know, even in the dating app, if I have to pay $30 to get the like premium version, I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then two, do you find that more men or women are the ones who are willing to invest and be sort of like active members in the matchmaking service?
So I would say like our larger pool of like paying members are like men 50 to 60, like biggest pool we have. So they appreciate what we're doing. They want to invest in finding the right person. And maybe the apps are not working, and the small fees or the no fees, or just the people they're meeting. So they want to invest in finding someone. So it's not like the 20s, 30s, even 40s are like shelling out all the money. So that's why we do have different ways of joining also, because, I don't know that I want to invest that kind of money. And, all these apps, you can join for free. So why would I pay a bunch of money? But
Right.
it is quality too.
Yeah,
There's
no, I
more
think that that's
quality.
right. That's a huge value add. And I do, a lot of, I think just right now, people are tired of the apps. We're burnt out. It's just like so omnipresent. And it does feel like this sort of like reversion back to either meeting people in real life,
Yeah.
or leveraging services like yours to find a different way to connect. Are you finding that in the past year or so you've seen an upwards trend, or has it been pretty stable throughout 30 years?
I think we have gotten busier in the last, I would say like after COVID, like spike in clients and sales and things. I think because people are frustrated with the apps, and they've tried that route, and it's just not working for them. They're wasting their time on people that aren't serious. Or I don't know, like how many times I've heard or seen myself of people showing up that look nothing like their photos. They're lying about their age by 10 years, and you're like, just dishonest, and about who they are and what they're looking for. So I think it people are more open to the idea of matchmaking versus 15 years ago, where it was more taboo.
Yeah.
Now everybody's kind of online dating, and so it's less taboo. Like they're not as uncomfortable like telling their friends, oh my god, this company's great, you should come work with them, because everybody's doing it, everybody's online.
Yeah.
So I think people are more comfortable putting themselves out there to meet people in this kind of way. And people are a bit nervous, like this is weird, but like everybody's doing the same thing, so everybody's in the same boat. So you all can be uncomfortable together, just like the apps, right? Like, oh, why are you here, and blah blah blah, and how long you been on it, and it's just like they're coming to us for the same reasons, like they maybe are sick of the apps, or they would never go that route, and they just want to meet somebody, that's serious about finding someone and like fits their criteria. And it's like you pay for an attorney or this or that. Like it's kind of investing in your love life.
Well, I know. And I think that's where it comes back to this idea of like the investment. And I've heard this sort of analogy before. It's like you get a personal trainer, you do all these things
Right.
to better yourself. But for some reason, I don't know personally why I have it, but others where it's like that taking that like extra spend for your love life, but which is probably very important to you or your relationship, not willing to invest in it. So I think it's funny. The psychology, which I'm curious, with you having a major in psychology, what do you find yourself applying from that degree to this current role or to the job?
I think just like listening and helping, work through like some past relationships, like helping them focus on future relationships, or a lot of times getting feedback and relaying that. And we have conversations about, oh, maybe they don't realize that they're still stuck on their ex and they were crying about them on the date, or like, talking too much about them, kind of a thing, and they don't even realize they're doing it. Sometimes I mean, I have a few clients that are like, I don't know, maybe not super happy with their job or this or that. And they don't even realize that they're like Debbie Downer on the date. And sometimes you don't know until someone tells you. And so we kind of just like work through some of those things that they don't even realize they're doing, or that they needed to get out or talk about or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I love being able to help people in this way. I mean, for people that want to find love, and it's so important, like that's the most rewarding thing, to be able to help them find. And that's why people are coming to us, is they really want to find that connection, love in their life. And so like that's the best thing I can be able to do to help people find. And I love what I do every single day, and being able to help people and work through things, and just like um I just kind of feel like I'm a friend, like walking them through their dating journey. And it's hard sometimes, right? It doesn't always work out, and it's sad, and it's a bummer, and people want to give up. And so it's a journey, and I am here to help throughout this journey.
It sounds like kind of like a mix of, matchmaker, but also a coach in a way,
Yeah,
like whether it's your
dating
career
coach. Yeah.
coach or your love coach, like being able to give you feedback, help you get to the next, goal and support them in that way, which is super valuable. I know part of, you have elite connections. You also are doing media around it, a TV personality, like appearing on different TV shows. Is that right? Like, what are the extensions you've had within the business?
Yeah. So I'm wanting to start a podcast. I haven't done it yet. But
Okay.
I thought it would be so fun to just like, I don't know, talk to singles and get my matchmakers on here and just talking about things. So that's kind of in the works as something soon. But I have done some shows. I just did this Virgin show, which was pretty comical. I actually didn't see all of them. I have to go back and watch them all. But
Okay.
um, but the girl I was matching on there was pretty sweet. She just is like in the Hollywood La La Land, and she wants this like drop dead actor. And I just was trying to push her not to do that. I was
Mhm.
like, learn from me. You don't want that. But she was pretty cute. I'm still trying to help her off camera,
Okay.
but that was a fun experience. And I've matched on like one-offs, just like the Housewives of Orange County, and Latoya Jackson on her show, and just like here and there, just like some celebrity matches here and there. But it's pretty fun. I really enjoy writing. I write for a lot of magazine articles and online publications, and just kind of spread the word and dating advice, and just trying to get the word out there and try to help my singles any way I can. Not even like really trying to promote us. I do enjoy just like helping the masses. We are also going to hopefully be starting an app version. So kind of for the masses, the people that maybe don't want to spend the big bucks. And so, but we would still do like some vetting and that kind of thing for all of our clients as well. So that's in the works as well. So some exciting stuff.
That is really exciting. Well, I mentioned at the start this article about this very specific headline, which was why it spoke directly to me, which was like how to date as a divorced parent during the back to school season, if I remember correctly. So, what are some kind of like, what are your top three tips for those of us who our kids are going back to school right now? Probably getting into more of a routine because I felt like summer it's just it's so hard to date because it's
Chaos.
you're
Right.
traveling, you've got your kids, it's just it feels like the time we should be dating but also too chaotic. So now that we go back into routine, like what are three things that we can do to either get prepared for it or to be proactively trying to date?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you do have to do something about it. You're not just gonna like meet someone at home, right? Like you have to get out there. I always like suggest picking up like a new hobby, tennis. Everybody's doing pickleball. Golf with some friends. Just like go out and mingle and always kind of be prepared to like run into somebody. Like even like your kids teams, or you're going out like meeting people, you have to like be friendly and introduce yourself, and not everyone's gonna be single, and most aren't. It's tough out here in the Conejo Valley, but you have to go out like feeling confident and pretty, and it will like exude confidence. If you like feel good, you'll look good, like versus messy bun and the yoga clothes and whatever, like feel good and like feel good about yourself and get yourself ready. And, you never know where you'd run into somebody, but you have to put in some effort, tell some friends, like, anybody, like they don't might want to push someone on you. So like letting people know that like maybe you're ready to date, and like, do they know anybody on their teams or their, friends, dads or whatever, or their kids' friends, dads, whatever.
Yes.
Um, and just like try the apps, try a matchmaker, just like try different ways of meeting people, and be in that right mindset, and happy and content and have your life in order, and just like put yourself out there and introduce yourself and say hi and smile and be friendly, and all the things.
It sounds like have the openness to it, I suppose. Like if you are saying you want to like actually present yourself as though you are open to meeting people.
Right. Like I gave up on the apps. I'm like, it's a joke. Everyone is like the most horrible date I've ever been on. And I'm like, I'm done. So I'm just like, I gave it up to God. And I was like, if he comes into my life, he comes into my life. And through, my kids' sports, or through friends, or just out and about, like I am open to it. And I feel like in the right time, it will come to me. But I also, try to present myself, like I feel good about myself when I get dressed and I do my hair and my makeup, and I just feel better about myself. And so I just feel like if you look good, you feel good, you have more confidence, and then you can attract more people that way because you are confident and going out there. So
Yes, I understand that. And I think the activities, going back to this like in real life interaction, I am a relatively new pickleball player.
yeah.
And I feel like it is a great way to meet people, but it is interesting to try to like take relationships that you might meet from those settings and then pursue them on a dating level. Cause it's like, for me at least, it's like you don't want to ruin those friendships that you've made and like taking it to a dating. I don't know if you have a tip for doing that, of how to like sort of test the waters of if that person is in fact dating material or just like a fun person to play pickleball with.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, yeah, I guess you don't want to ruin your pickleball experience, but I feel like you can make other pickleball friends if it weren't to work out and it was so awkward. But if you didn't try, then you don't know. And what if that's your person? So I feel like go for it. And I mean, we're all adults. Like we can be friends if we went on a couple dates and it didn't work out. Like, I mean, I feel like we could still play pickleball, but maybe not. Or you just don't play pickleball with that person anymore. Right.
You go easy. I like it. Life is short. Take the jump.
Go for it.
What do you recommend to your clients or just generally for first dates? And I think specifically like here in the Conejo Valley, are we doing a drink, dinner? What do you like to recommend?
Yeah, I think a drink is good, and you like each other and you want to stay longer and get a bite to eat. But I think if you just set up like, oh, let's meet for happy hour, let's meet for a drink, then it's like a little bit of a shorter date. You can just like get to know each other for a bit. As long as you want to, you can have more than one drink, right? Don't have too many.
Yeah. Do you have any rules? Do you have any like rules that you offer that you say, I don't know, right? 2 drink minimum on a first date or only an hour? Or is it just more like whatever you guys feel are feeling in the moment?
Yeah, don't be a lush. Don't get drunky. And then when you have too much to drink, then your inhibitions go down a little bit, and like you might do things that you regret doing if you didn't have those 3 or 4 drinks, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a drink is a good first date. Get to know someone. It could turn into. I've had a 2 hour drink date. So like it can turn into more if you guys are getting along and having fun. And then especially if it's like an app date, like coffee, drink, like something that can be short so you can get out of there. And not like, I always feel bad like having dinner with somebody that I'm not interested in too. So like I think for a first date it's better. And then if there's a second date, a dinner date is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed. I do think the drink date is a good one. I had a couple experiences where after one drink, I was just ready for it to be done, and I said as much of just like I think this was good, but we're not a fit, and it surprised. I think it's like sort of surprises the other person. But do you agree that if you're not feeling it, might as well cut your losses, or what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's hard for most people to say that face to face to
Yeah,
someone. I think more people try to spare feelings and try to like, beat around the bush a little bit and not tell them that they're not into them. And then they just don't respond when they text kind of
yeah.
thing. So I love that
I
you're
know, I don't know if it's right or wrong. Again, I think it's like as I've gotten older or like have less time
yeah,
or also just like appreciate directness in a
yeah.
way, it feels like that. But I do think it kind of probably does, and maybe would coach me against this if we're like, maybe it hurts the person's ego or something. But at the same time, I don't know. I
I
don't
think
know.
they would appreciate that you're being honest.
Yeah.
But if it were directed towards me, I think it probably would hurt my feelings too.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Right. I
If they're
know.
like, yeah, not feeling it, I don't want to see you again, kind of a thing. And you'd be like, oh, okay, burn.
Okay, okay. So maybe there is a better way to go about it. But I know it's a very because I think that it is this dynamic of when you have it's different than dating when you're single, in my opinion. Where when you're single and you have flexible time, whatever, it just seems like okay. But now as a person with children or just knowing the things that I like, I maybe I become more rigid in it, and that is
Yeah.
not always
And you
good.
don't want to waste your time or theirs. So
Right.
you're being honest, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm more one to sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone is who they are.
And maybe that's the value too of having a matchmaker is that they can I don't and maybe this I don't know if this is what you do, but you can when you share that feedback and say they're not interested in dating again or whatever, it kind of helps. There's like not the ghosting component of it. Plus there's a way to communicate the feedback back, which makes it less like painful hearing it from the actual person.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, and I think it is hard if somebody's like blowing you up, asking you out again to say no. That's hard. You don't want to hurt their feelings. You feel bad. You don't know what to say. But you have to, right? Or you say nothing and then that's even ruder.
Yeah.
And like we wouldn't like that. We wouldn't like somebody to do that to us. So we're just trying to be like kind individuals. But yes, sometimes I kind of take that out of the equation and I kind of let them down instead of you having to, kind of a thing,
Right.
which is nice. I'm the bad guy.
Okay, I know. Sometimes maybe that's the move. What do you think about like when you're matching people, sort of this like attraction versus long-term compatibility? Are you able to, with the profiles of your clients and the people in your pool, able to see that? Or are there certain questions that you're asking to help kind of suss that out at the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of tell me the type and what they like and the type of person they're looking to meet. They kind of go into some detail, but then I always do show like if I did blind dating, that would be a totally different story. But I always show a couple recent photos and a profile, so they are seeing who this person is, and I'm making sure that they look like their photos and all that kind of thing. And we're not trying to use like face tuned and
Filter, sure.
right, all of it. So we're trying to use like pictures that really do look like the person. Girls are a little trickier because it's like, yeah, they use all the filters and things. But I think I as a matchmaker kind of I met her like this is what she looks like for the most part. And so then, yeah, so they are seeing that they are attracted to the person, and then really it's like sitting down and seeing if there's that chemistry in person, and you don't know until you do that. There's something on paper, and they look great, and then you sit down and it's like so awkward, and you have nothing to talk about, and they're it's not your jam, and you don't know that until you try. That's why it probably should be a little bit of a shorter date, just to not waste everybody's time and money. Most of our clients do a dinner or a cocktail, but it's a little bit different because they are, I don't know, investing in this kind of matchmaking agency, so they want to invest like an hour and a half in a dinner date to try to get to know someone, versus like a coffee or a cocktail could be like 30-45 minutes, right? They just want to like let them know they're serious, and they want to like invest in like getting to know them a little bit longer than like a coffee.
Right.
Sometimes it's like if somebody asked me on a walk date, I was like, absolutely not. Like that's rude. Like, no, let's go sit down for at least a coffee or a cocktail.
Right. I agree.
Like a
Yes.
walk? No, I'm not going on a walk or a hike. I've gotten a hike before. I was like, absolutely not, Dahmer.
Seriously. Well, that is okay. Yes. We're uncovering some more things here too. Right. Where it's like, I like a hike on a third date. I'm active. That's
Sure.
important. On a first date with a stranger? Are we
I
serious?
know. Not happening.
I know. And those are hopefully some tips you're giving the men who are out there, that these ideas of like that is an okay date or a walk. Like, I think as a woman too, and I'm sure this is in same sex relationships as well, it's like you want to show that somebody's investing in you like
Right.
a little bit, or like investing not only just time, but maybe like is willing and able to do that. And also, yeah, I've had a couple people on first dates ask if they can pick me up, and I say no. Like, you cannot, I appreciate, and I try to like encourage, like, I like where you're coming from. Like, that's a
Right.
nice idea,
Sure.
chivalry or whatever. But at the same time, until I know you in at least a couple dates or experiences, like, absolutely not. We're not spending one-on-one time together.
No,
Like, no. Which
absolutely.
is sad, because that's like I feel like when, we were younger, that was maybe more acceptable. But now it's like, it's just too scary. You can't do that.
Right. And your children, and you
Yes.
got to protect more than just yourself here.
Right.
And you don't know who these people are really. So, and
Right.
I mean, I've dated someone for a long time and didn't know who they are. So like, let's be real. We need to be careful.
Yes. I understand that completely. Do you think that online dating has, having been part of this world for decades and seen the advent of this, like, have you seen that it's changed people's expectations of relationships, either for better or for worse?
I feel like just like the swiping, that they really aren't giving each and every opportunity like the chance that they would have normally if they met someone out and about, that they're like, oh well, there's somebody else that I'm interested in, so I'm not going to reach out to her again for a second date because I'm talking to this person. Like, there's so many options that it makes it hard to focus on one person to get to know them. So they're just like they have like too many options possibly, or it's like it's fun to like talk and communicate, but then like they don't follow through because they're talking to other people. So like, I mean, with what we do, we just try to like one at a time, and like we'll put people's memberships on hold if they want to date someone, but we don't send people on multiple dates at once. Like, see how it goes with her. If you like her, great, then let me know if you want to continue to see her, or if you're not interested in seeing her again, then we'll work on something else. I'm not going to set you up with multiple people and let you just date around. Like, that's not what we're all about, which I think people
That's good.
appreciate too.
Yeah, that's good to hear, right? You're not like pitting people against each other in a way.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think is the difference between maybe men and women, and like what they're looking for in dating. It seems like what we're talking about, I guess maybe as they get older, men are like looking maybe for more serious relationships, and women like, or they're willing to invest in it. Women, I don't know. I was sitting at a happy hour the other day. My tip is like, I love sitting at a restaurant bar and like talking to people on happy hour. And I was talking to this older gentleman, and he said, he thinks that men are just better in long term relationships. And I said, I think you're right, because I think women, we are now like so independent. We're capable to do all these things. We're almost like our bar is a lot higher if we want to be in that. Like we can do so much on our own, like in
We
this,
don't need anyone.
we don't need anybody. So like, how do we match those two things? I'm wondering.
Um, I kind of feel different. I feel like the men are more like dating around, and they have like the options at their fingertips, so they're less serious, I feel, than the women are. Like, I feel like the women really want to, yes, we may have higher standards in what we're looking for, and maybe that's why we're still single because we want it all, because we can do it all ourselves. But I think the idea of a relationship is what the women want. I feel like there's a lot more guys that are like, oh, like I'm fine, just like being casual and dating around, and I just, that's what I see more of, that the women are more serious about finding real relationships. But yes, their standards might be higher, and men are like, it's all about attraction, hands down. And the women want, security, and they want them to have some kind of good profession, stable, you know, can like treat them well like a woman. And so I think we can take care of ourselves, but we still want the man to be able to be the man, and have that, gender role where they're like the provider and the man. And, you know, maybe we've taken care of ourselves for too long, and we need to like step back and let the men be the men. And who knows.
Right. Yeah. But is there I guess, we talked about there's like a small dating pool out here, or smaller maybe than some
Yeah.
other areas. I don't know, like, do you recommend people try to look outside of it, or do you just, focus on this area, and you just, whatever's here, you kind of just, there'll be people added over time. I don't know what the question is, but I feel like, is it, like, how do we go about just being in a smaller kind of bubble?
I know it's hard. It's like we're in like such a bedroom community that it's like a lot of people are families and there's married, and so it is a smaller pool of singles, so it is tricky. And I do think that you should be open outside of like Thousand Oaks and Newbury Park and Moore Park, like spread it out a little bit. If like you were with a matchmaker or the apps or whatever, just like to see more options a little bit outside of our little bubble. Because then you're just gonna, have more possibilities of people that you might be able to come across. But I do get it. Having kids, it's like LA is way too far. I am not moving there. They are not moving here. I am not driving hours. So I get it. But like, open up the parameter a little bit outside of our little 805.
Yeah. This was a question before, just in terms of what people are looking for. And I'm just interested, like, with this sort of age group, elder millennial women, are you finding that they are looking for a man who has been married before? Or is it a red flag if they have never been in a marriage at that age? Like if they're in their late 40s or 50s?
Yeah, I think that's a flag.
Okay.
I think
No,
not,
that,
not married, or like at least a long term, like live-in relationship, maybe engaged and it didn't work out or whatever. But like, why weren't you married? Yeah, usually you're like, why? Why? Like, were you never in a long-term relationship? Flag, right? You're at that age. Why didn't you have kids? I mean, maybe there's a story behind it.
Right.
But most people, right, that were married, and why did they have kids? Maybe there's a story behind it. She couldn't have kids. They tried, whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely a question. Like you sit down with somebody and like, oh, are you divorced? And they're like, no, never married. You're like, what? Like, why? Was there any long term relationships? Why didn't it ever lead to marriage? Maybe they're marriage phobic, right? Like, these are all questions we need to figure out.
Again, okay. Interesting. What's your vision for Elite Connections?
We have a lot of offices kind of nationwide, and we're just trying to keep growing. So, like, we're wanting to start some offices in, Texas and Chicago and just some areas that we are not right now, Arizona, and just some other major cities. So, we're working on just kind of growing in other areas. And we are discussing and working on like a dating advice book, which
Cool.
could be fun just to share the stories and what we've learned and advice and just kind of share more with the world. So we've been working on that, my mom and I.
Is your
Um,
mom still involved in the
yeah,
business?
yeah, she is.
And how do, if somebody wanted to become a matchmaker, is that something that you coach people to do, or how would somebody work with you?
Yeah, we would take them on. I mean, we are like kind of full in the Westlake office, but like we have recruiters that they are always sending us clients and then we pay them for that. So
Mm.
there's different ways. And like, you know, in multiple areas, we've hired matchmakers. Like right now, we like need somebody in like San Diego and Orange County and Santa Barbara. And like there's, different areas where we are looking for matchmakers. But then, yes, we can hire recruiters, like, and they send us all their single friends, or they go on social media and they recruit singles for us, and then we pay them for, sending us those referrals.
Interesting. Yeah, I was just curious about the business model of how that happens, especially if you're opening offices in other cities. That's if somebody like their natural inclination is to connect their friends or, like have that ability to see how people can match, like that they can maybe make that into career, it sounds like.
Right. Yeah. So like right now we're looking for like we've got ads out for like San Diego and Orange
Hmm.
County for a matchmaker, and people, not many people have worked in this business before because this is a pretty small business. But
Yeah.
a lot of people that were like headhunters and real estate agents and like those types of people, they like hit us up and like, oh, I just feel like this is a passion I have. I'd love to be able to help people find love. And you don't even really think about it, but you see the ad up and you're like, that sounds awesome. I'd love to be able to help people find love. So and not many people have like done it before, but yeah, we would just kind of train them, and you just have to be good with people, and good listener, and a good intuition.
Right. Makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay, I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you.
Yes.
So the first one, I'm curious for a first date, whether maybe first date for a drink, first date for dinner, where in the Conejo Valley would you recommend a first date happen?
I mean, Tarantula Hill's fun, easy. Stonehouse, Westlake, just nice outside, easy. You don't need reservations, whatever. You just walk in. Um, let's see. Dinner. Um, I mean, Lure is nice. I love the landing outside at the lake for a nice dinner, but that's more of like a maybe second date.
Yeah, that is a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
Do you find that that you encourage the maybe male, if it's a hetero relationship, to make the decision on where to go?
Yeah, I usually let him decide because he's going to pick up the bill. So I
There you
usually
go.
let him, if it's like somebody in Calabasas and somebody in Camarillo, I'll be like, maybe you can go to her for the first date. And if he doesn't know anything in that area, I might get some suggestions from her. But I let him kind of, run the show of like where he wants to take her.
Yeah, I still feel like that. I mean, even that's old school. Like I just think it's the best way to start off any relationship is if if he's the one deciding where
Yeah,
to go and what
yeah,
to do.
I agree.
Okay. On a personal note, what is your favorite thing to do in the Conejo Valley?
Oh my gosh. What's my favorite thing to do? Um, I don't know. Um, Happy hour with my girls. I like I went to Tarantula Hill for Mom's Night when all the kids went back to school. That was pretty fun. But I just love to laugh and have fun with my friends. And well, I mean, we take our kids out too to like Cronies or we go to Cisco's for happy hour. Or Lazy Dog has a good happy hour, and the kids roam the mall, and us moms hang at Plata or Lazy Dog. So yeah, I mean, I like a drink and a laugh and a bite.
Life is simple, right? That's amazing. Okay, so what is one piece of the final question for you, Tammy? What is one piece of advice you would offer to first time entrepreneurs?
Don't give up. So hard. There's so many bumps in the road, especially when like starting a business. And just don't give up and just keep hustling and stay positive that it's going to work out. And just have your small goals that you're working towards and just keep at it.
Amazing. Love it. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today, for sharing so many great tips, and for, making love matches out here in the Conejo Valley.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And if you or anyone is interested, you can go on our website and there's a lot of information on eliteconnections.com and you can reach out and I can talk you through how it all works.
Fantastic. Thank you.